Welcome to my neighborhood. I'm Pat Sloan and you're here in my studio on Monday night for my fireside chat. I've got a little roundup of things I'm working on. I'm going to show you a couple of items, sort of a tool that you might not know about and one that you probably have seen me showing you a lot, and I'll just show you how it works. Then I don't know if I'm going to sew or not. I've got the Solaris fired up and I have my layer cake quilt, but I don't know if I'll get to the sewing. And then I have a few other things to chat about for the sew alongs, and so hey, that's the way it is today. And yesterday was National Coffee Day. Do you follow? I follow a couple people, one in particular, who always posts what the national day is or the international day is, and every day of the year there are probably, I don't know, seems like 400 different things. Have you ever gone out and searched? You know, there's always a day. There's something for the day. And yesterday was International Coffee Day. So of course I had coffee yesterday, and of course I have one today too. It's my break. I told you that. It's like I walk over and I take a break in the afternoon. I walk over to the plaza and I come back. I often stop at the grocery store. I feel like I live in a city because I walk to the coffee shop, walk to the grocery store. If I can't carry it back in my bag or bags, it isn't coming back. But I was over there yesterday. I picked up one of the biscottis. So this is my snack chat. And I don't know, do you make biscotti? I have a recipe for one that is pistachio biscotti. So if you have a recipe, I go to the link over to my website or leave it down here in the comments, particularly for Facebook. It's a little bit easier than YouTube right now. And tell me your biscotti recipe. They're actually not hard to make. You have to double bake them. And I don't like almond flavor, I've decided. I like almonds, but not almond flavored things. I don't know, for some reason that's not my thing. But I like these pistachio ones that I do, and you can put cranberries in them. I like dried cranberries in them. Yeah, they're really good. So the Block Wednesday starts. Today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Block Wednesday starts, and so you're gathering up your fabric, and I thought I would show you some fabrics that I got in this summer that you might like. They're not wintry fabrics, but I just thought they're really pretty, and if you hadn't seen them, maybe you would like them. So I've got, and I may have shown you this one already, which is the C one. Because this is a 9-block sampler, you're going to buy some fabric for a border and fabric for putting the blocks together, like a background type fabric. And this, I think, is pretty nice. Let me just stick it here a minute. So this is, whoops, the little labels come off. I've taken out of the bag before. So it is a sea inspired with red, white, and blue. And so if you are looking to maybe do something more red, white, and blue, like look at that. This is this is one of the fabrics I got as a present. And look at this gorgeous, gorgeous rose. So I'm going to turn this light off there. There we go. Got a little bit of a glare. So you can see it's very nautical. Got some polka dots. See, there's little anchors. Beautiful blue rose. So, and there's a white base backgrounds. I just love, any of these florals would be great for a border. So this line might be something if you are looking for something a little different to sew with, so that you could have actually a summer quilt from Winter Fun. But you know, they're just piece blocks, so you could do whatever you like. So there's that one. And the other one I got that I know I didn't show you, I'm pretty sure I didn't show you, was Dorothy's Journey. And my my love affair with the Wizard of Oz is a thing. It is my favorite movie of all time. Oh my goodness, this one is all sealed up. It doesn't have the like rippy thing that you rip out. So let's pry it open. So get in here real quick, because I thought if you wanted to do a quilt for somebody who loves the Wizard of Oz, or a child, you know, because you could then get the movie to give to them. Although I would say that the flying monkeys scared the crap out of me as a kid. I would hide under the table when the flying monkeys came. They were not my favorite part. I don't know who thought they should scare everybody half to death with the flying monkeys, but I was scared half to death. So, okay, so you can't see it. Here we go. So they have, all right, I'm just going to take this off because I want to flip the fabrics. This is just a really sweet line. I love the drawings for this particular one. I think the artwork is really nice, and then there's great companions. Look here. Here's Toto in the basket, and there's the munchkins, leprechauns. There's the flower fields. So there's a light blue. There's also some silver sort of on it. There's the yellow brick road, of course. Oh, there's clouds. I missed that one. That's pretty cool. There's look, I've turned it around so you see it right side up. Look how cute the illustrations are. The illustrations are what got me. There's Toto and Dorothy. So it's on white as well. There's silver clouds. Oh, I like that on the black. And then there's peach. Peach colors and a little yellow. So back, and then some light blue. So it's got a lot of different shades in it. I think it would be really fun to do if you are looking. There's the Emerald City. So if you're looking for the Yellow Brick Road, if you're looking for something different to use. Okay, so let me pull that up there. So those were two for my Block Wednesday, which is called Winter Fun. And you don't have to use winter fabric. I am using some blue and white. That's what I picked. And I haven't done a blue and white lately for that. I did one a couple years ago for Orifil, I think. I did, yeah. Or they did, I forget. Anyway, coming up this coming week is the last block of Out of This World, which is my block of the month. So then about mid-November or late November, I'll announce the 2020 Block of the Month theme and fabrics. But on Tuesday, October 1 is the last block for that. So that's exciting to have that one wrap up. Your quilts are just amazing. And I lost the binding fabric. I had it done. Had it out to the spa to be quilted. Cindy and Dennis quilted it. It's so darling. And I kept piece for a hanging rod in the back, because I always put a hanging sleeve, and no binding. And I looked all over, and I know there was a whole bundle of what was left, and I think I gave it to somebody. I think I gave it to a friend. So I am going to have to bind mine in black, which is no problem because it's not the biggest part of the quilt, but I need to get better at that. I don't know how. I've got a lot of projects going on, and so I did not properly sort everything, which was kind of annoying, very annoying, but that's what happens sometimes. So I have to do that. I also want to show you, let me see if I can hold it up here, the bonus layout I did. I don't want to pull my mic off. Let's see. Okay, let me push back. Here is the bonus quilt. I still have to bind mine. Oops, my mic is, there we go. Let it go on the ground. Whoop. Sure, I'm still hooked in. Sorry about that, the clip ran away. This is like a multi-part thing with the mic. Alrighty, back on track. So let me hold it up. There we go. You can see it online a lot better. Oops. So there I did. So I did one of all the blocks. Here's the other side. Can't get it all in, but you can see then down at the bottom. There we go. Whee! And anyway, this that wasn't really going that well. So I will. You can look online. I'll put it up there. But that is the bonus layout that I did for Witch's Night Out, which is, there's the full quilt. And so a lot of you have done the full quilt, and I had the full quilt as well. But the bonus is something that the Fat Quarter Shop thought it was a great idea, and they really liked it. And so they did the PDF. I did all the directions and then gave it to them to format so it looks very much like a Sew Emma pattern. So there you go. Okay, another project, or another book rather, that came in. Sorry, another book that came in was Lori Holt's new Farm Girl Vintage 2, which is so cute. Do you want to see inside a little bit? I have not opened it, so this is the first that I've opened it. There's always so many cute books. Her books are like, I don't know, like they're like 18 books into one book. There's always so much stuff. There'll be a sew-along, and I am late next year, like in the spring of next year, I do a few of the blocks, and I'm going to play around with them, do something fun with them. I think I have 4 blocks to do. All right, there we go. Got it out of its bag. Do you see? I mean, it's thick. So it's a sampler, and being farm, it has a lot of different, farmy type things. When I'm doing mine, I don't do like, I didn't want like a horse and stuff, but you know, those are on there for those of you who love those real farm type things. But there's also other quilts, which is what I like. So each pattern, you know, has great directions for that. But then, let me see in the back. This is the first I've opened it. So here are some of the samplers, like just repeating. You know, you don't have to have the same thing. Look at the truck. So you could make a red truck, a teal truck, a green truck, a black truck, whatever truck is the kind that, you know, works for you and your family. So there's the layouts for the different quilts. And here's some with more of the repeat blocks. You know, just taking something or 2 of something. I think there's, here's some that are, what does this say? Bonus star quilts. So there are some star blocks, sort of like, barn quilts. Sorry, I thought it said bonus. They're barn quilts. So you've got those in here. And then the back are some other projects. Like there's a little pieced aprons and a scarecrow. What is this? Looks like pin cushions. So lots of fun stuff. I will link to this. It's really a darling book. Oh, I like that. I like that piece quilt there. It's like an X from Cross Stitch. Oh, it's a busy book. It has a lot of potential. It's also spiral bound, which is super nice. So you can just lay it flat like this and work on it. It also goes in your book holder. Super nice. Lori's she's very talented. She always has just 1,000 million ideas, and she puts them all in one book. So it's always fun to go through it. Now I have to go through it later and look at it more closely. That's the first time I opened it. It just came in. So I want to show you what was going on with some squares in a minute, because I ended up with lots of this, and I wanted to tell you what they came from and what I do with them, you know, because I've got 3 stacks of them, and I need to have a little focus on what to do with those. But first, I read a lot of, I get a lot of different things, and I read things that are not necessarily in the quilting arena. I like to read things that are written by other creative people they may be outside of crafting either, but for some reason I got into following several knitters. One many years ago, and if you knit, you might follow Yarn Harlot. But I also started following Truly Myrtle, which is her blog name, and she's from New Zealand. And she wrote an article the other day, and I write it down because the title was kind of interesting. It says, the title of it says, "I'm worried it will be a little tricky," meaning, you know, working on a new knitting thing that, you know, you might not start it because you're worried it's going to be a little tricky. But in quilting, you know, I really related to this article, and I'll link it to you at my website. So, you know, when you go over to my website, you can get all the stuff, and I will, you know, and you can go read the whole article. But a few things that she pointed out was that, you know, pretty much you're worried, you know, you're worried about something being difficult, tricky, undoable. You know, like, I can't do that. You know, I'm scared, I'm afraid. But once you tackle it, you go in and you learn it, you feel so much better. You feel like, I can do anything. I did that. You know, whether it was a complicated patchwork, a complicated knitting thing, a complicated financial thing you had to figure out for your family, whatever it is that you jumped in and did, afterwards you feel like $1,000,000 because you managed to do it. And one of her points was that doing it in knitting, and same for us, doing it in quilting, gives us the confidence to do it other places. So if you tackle something you think is a little bit tricky, a little bit hard, a little bit out of your comfort zone, then you master it, you manage it, you find out it wasn't really that hard. All you do is start at the beginning, take it step by step, and you can do it. Sometimes it might take a little more concentration. It might mean you have to slow down. It might mean you have to undo or recheck. But most things are very, very doable. And so when we just jump in, when you can do it. So this week, think about this. If there's something that you are in the back of your head, like, I've been avoiding it, I need to do it, I want to do it, go ahead and start it. Get it out, read it, figure it out, take those first steps at the beginning. You know, you're not going to jump in the middle of it, just start at the beginning, work at it a little bit at a time. So, nice thing to think about. Nice motivational thing for us is that if you can do it, you know, then you can do other things too. You can do it in quilting, you can then do it in something you have to tackle outside of quilting. Yes, we can. All right, beginner quilt along. When we were making things like this, we did sew and flip, and we ended up with bonus triangles. Well, we ended up with 2 triangles, right? This was, after I did sew and flip, I had one of each of these left. And then what I did is I sewed them all together, so you can see. Which means from the whole beginner, that's what the blue and white is up there, the whole beginner sew along. Here, I'll lift it up there. See the blue and white, and then I have some blocks. For this week's last block is on there. You can see it on the quilt. It's not a mystery. So I'm not ruining anything, but you get the pattern on Thursday. But you know, I ended up with this whole stack. I mean, this is quite a few blocks. So I want to show you how I'm going to tackle those, because I like to sew them for starting and ending. Some people like to sort of create this where you're creating it as you're making the actual block, but I don't want to take the time then. Like, they'll come back through and sew the extra line while they're making the block, but I don't want to take the time then. I isn't how I work. For me, that's not as efficient for me. So I just cut the triangles, and then I stack them by my machine here, like usually like up on top, and then I use them to sew to start a series of sewing and end a series of sewing on something else. So I want to show you 2 things about what I'm going to do with these. First, because I don't know that I've ever showed you these, and they're really nifty. They are Olfa's folding mats. So I'm going to be cutting, and I thought, well, let me just show you the folding mat, because I haven't showed you those yet. They come like this. See the ridge? And then you open it like that, and the ridge is sealed up when you open it. Let me put it down on the surface here. It needs to be flat for it to lay nice, you know, because you don't want, and you know, it does lay flat, but you don't want to have ridges on your table or anything else. So let me show you this here. And I'll come in a little closer. Here we go. So here you can see, here's the fold, right? So it makes it super nice. They come in bigger sizes too, but it makes it super nice. But there will be, you know, until I think it flattens out just a little bit, you have just a little, it rises, you know, because it's a folded thing. But when I'm cutting, I'm holding down like this, which totally lays it flat. So when I'm cutting something, I'm cutting across like this, and you know, it's not hitting those at all because they actually press them down just as I get to them. Here, which is, there you can see it even better. So like when I do this, it doesn't have any, it doesn't catch at all. It just goes right across it because as I come close, the two of them, you know, sort of fold down together. So that is the folding mat. Now let me show you what I do with these guys. So I need to trim them, and I use, because they're not all exactly the same size when I do this. They are varying sizes, like a little fraction of an inch. So I need to get them all at the same size. So I'm using this ruler, this Quilt in a Day ruler, which has, you're reading it from here. So if I have like trim at the 1.5, then I'll have a 1.5 half square triangle, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5, 6, 6.5. And then if I'm trimming with the whole numbers, that's what I end up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe there's bigger ones of these too. So what I'm doing is finding the best spot. So if I wanted to make 2.5-inch triangles from this, I would be cutting, let me get even a little bit closer. I would be cutting away. I'd be putting the line right on the seam. That's what that's on, right on the seam. But then I would be cutting this much off, which is quite a bit. So I'm like thinking, can I get a 3-inch off of this? Let me put the 3 up here. No, the 3 is going to be a little short. I am probably going to have some of them that I can't get 3, some that will be exactly 3. It just depends on how careful I was. So like, let's look at another one. So this 3 is way short. It would not work. So that means I have to do the 2.5, which is fine. So I'll have a stack of 2.5-inch triangles. So if I want to, I'm going to show you right over the crease. So, whoops. So I'm going to be trimming. I'll be cutting across the crease. So I'm going to put the 2.5-inch line on there, and then go up one side to pull that off, and then put my arm over here, do the other side. It's not a rotating mat, and then pull that away. So now I have a 2.5-inch half square triangle. I press it open, and the one thing about this method is, you know, there's a purpose for this because it's cut away. So, but you have these little dog ears. I like to trim those away. That's what these are called. These little points that hang out. The reason I trim them away is because they get caught up in things. I find that they get caught up in the machine, like because I use an edge foot. Let me show you. I use this foot, and so it has this edge on it. See the edge? There you go. So this has that edge on it, which means if I've got these things that I'm trying to go over, like this. Let me show you. Like if I'm trying to go over this like that, they can get caught. They can get caught a little bit. So I prefer to trim those all off beforehand. And I will layer, actually, like fan out a bunch of them, whoops, like this, so that I can sort of go boop, 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 and just do a whole lot of them. Somebody gave me that tip once, which I thought was pretty nifty. That one hasn't been trimmed yet. All right. So those are some tools that you may have not played around with. If I know that you have seen this Quilt in a Day ruler. You've seen me show you this a lot, which I use it a lot because of the sew and flip. I have, you know, the pieces left. It's just the way it works when you do sew and flip. And so I have all these half square triangles, and I am not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I'm going to make something because I have 3 quilts from all 3 quilts, all 3 of my colorways for the beginner. That's a lot. So I need to see how many I actually ended up with, and maybe I'll have to make a few more to do something. Maybe I'll make some stars, star blocks, or maybe I'll just use them. Who knows? I have to look. I have to look at that. Okay, so I was just thinking, what else? I had something else to show you. my brain just went blink and it went away. It will come back. All right. I'm trying to remember, but I can't, so we'll move on. I put out all of the posts, sorry about that. Sometimes it just blinks away. I put out all the posts for the Bonnie Lane sew-alongs, and they each have their own project page. I spent most of the day Saturday doing that. So you can get the patterns, you can get the kits for the ones, that have kits, and those will all be, starting at varying times. So sort of the table runners first, then Glow, which is all pieced, and then there's a little overlap for a couple weeks between Glow and Drive Down Bonnie Lane. So if you happen to want to do all three of them or the 2-lap quilts, you can do that. They're not too much overlap. So I'm so excited to start all of those. I finally got that all organized. Took a little bit. All right, so this week I have a giveaway. I'm gonna get it off of my rolling assistant here. Whoops. So there's my rolling assistant. It's great to have an assistant in your office. This one's very quiet, doesn't ever ask for anything, doesn't drink the last cup of coffee. Very nice assistant. So I have a giveaway. The primary thing is my good friend Celine Perkins. She is a fabulous designer, and she sent me 3 of her patterns. So there, I'll just show you each one. This is, what does that say? Scattered Jewels. And this is going to go all to one person, plain and fancy. She's such a great designer. And I love this one. What is that? Nanny Farnsworth. I'm sure there's a story in there. She was in our Splendid Sampler, did the most gorgeous block. I believe hers was called Simple Simon in the first book. But she also is the inventor of the Perfect Seam Guide. And I just love her Perfect Seam Guide. So you will get one of those, and she sent me a few of those. So in some future ones, I'll have some other Perfect Seam Guides. I'm also going to send the winner this week an olfa rotary cutter, a swatch set for my Bonnie Lane. Yay! This super cute bag. Stitching is my cardio. I have one too, so I love it. And it's not it. The Orchard fabric from April Rosenthal. It's so cute. It's kind of apple season, so where's one that has, like, this has fruit on it. You can see fruit on there, but she has one with the apples. So this is cute. Yeah, there's the fruit. So I thought this is appropriate. We're, going right into October. It's that apple season. And you get a little olfa rotary cutter pin and, whoops, here, that side, the box cutter, which are really nice. These you open them up. I'll leave the tab in there, but it's got a X-Acto knife in there. So those are all going to somebody. And what I want you to tell me this week, we're going to go back to a sewing question, is I want you to tell me who you learned to sew from, because I think that's it's an important thing. You can either tell me who you learned to sew from, or you can tell me who you learned to quilt from. I'll tell you that I learned to sew in home ec class. So that is, I have a love of home ec classes, home ec teachers. I'm sure they call it something else now. I don't have children, so I don't keep up on what all things are. I think it's life sciences, or I don't know if they even have it. But when I was in school, you did, sewing and cooking and all those things. But when I went in and my teacher said that we should turn on the machine, the sewing machine, it was like my whole world changed. I didn't know anything about sewing up until that, and it has become a lifetime of enjoyment for me to not only sew when it wasn't my business, but now to have it as my business. So it is, I'm always grateful that in that time period when I was in high school, that was an important part of my curriculum, that I did that. I also did cooking and baking. That's where I learned to bake. I entered competition even. Yeah, I didn't win anything. but I entered. Thus, I like to bake. I do. That's what I like to do. Okay, so my giveaway from last week, yay, is going to, drum roll, the question was, what do you do in the fall? Do you have a tradition? Is there something that really gets you excited about fall, that once you do it, you're like, yes, it's fall? So Lori Friesna, which I'll email you, Lori, she says that she can't wait to display her fall quilts and all of her decor, including her bowl cozies or her bowl keeps, which I thought, oh, I need to ask her. I did ask you, Lori, in the email, but you know, what exactly do they look like? Are they fabric ones, or do you have certain ones that you've purchased that are fall oriented? You know, it's like, for me, I need to go up and get my fall table runner and the wall hanging, and put, you know, switch out the quilt that's in my stairwell. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. This, I used to decorate a lot for the seasons, and I got out of the habit with when we did a lot of travel. And so my goal for next year, because it's not really going to happen that well this year, but for next year is to get back in the habit, because we're hoping this year to paint the downstairs. And you know how that is, right? If you've ever had to paint, that means it's going to be ripping everything apart, you know, emptying the rooms. And so you know, it'll be restructuring, and I actually want to sort of rethink what I have on my walls, what I choose to display, what I choose to live with. So that is kind of my winter project. I'm hoping that the shipping department does most of the painting, because I'm no good at painting. I don't have the patience for it. I get bored. Shh, don't tell him. He knows this already, so he doesn't like to paint either, but he's just a lot better at it than I am. So I will be the gopher, the helper. Well, I am so happy that you joined me here on my Fireside Chat. Thanks for being here. If you have a question, leave it in the comments. Remember, you're going to go over to my website, which is where you'll tell me who you learned to sew from, and I will see you online at my Facebook group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, here at YouTube, on my blog, on Instagram. See you then.